this is Kevin Smith, and I'm not much of a reader anymore, man. It's mostly comic books for me, but when I do read, I like to read well-written literature, and Letters to Daniel is an insanely well-written book, man. The entire Heroes trilogy is something that I can't wait to read the rest of now that I've read Letters to Daniel by Amy Porkle. Check it out at a bookstore near you or online.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Recovery Unplugged Live. I made you wait. I made you wait 10 more seconds because I decided to play that Kevin Smith snippet about Letters to Daniel at the last minute.
Yay!
How are you? What's going on?
Okay, so I know this is we haven't been on for a while, and you can have good things happening when you have bipolar disorder, and sometimes like the inside does not match the outside. As So I had a rather traumatic event last week in coming back from the indie gathering, not at the indie gathering. Indie gathering was wonderful. The screening went fantastic. But literally, there was nobody in the bus station at one point. And then when the people did get there, they said, I don't work this shift. I don't know anything. And then the bus didn't show up at 2:25 a.m. And I'm scrambling to get home. So, yeah. And I also had a cold, like a sinus upper respiratory infection setting in. I didn't have COVID. I'm COVID free. But I just, you can get other things. And I got a cold. And, setting like that in the bus station, sleep deprived, is not an ideal place to be. Fortunately, Anna was still in town, and she came and picked me up around 5 a.m., and we headed to Louisville, or to Shepherdsville, my hometown, and which is 5 hours out of the way for her to drive back to Jacksonville. So fortunately, everybody banded together. My sister sent me gas money to give her, and then someone sent me food money so I could get breakfast while we were driving.
So she drove into town? Or she drove to the festival? Anna?
Yes. Yeah, she drove from Florida to the festival, and she has been having to have physical therapy on her knee. Well, anyway, after I got home, I was sick. So I had to get antibiotics, and I slept literally at home for like 3 days. And then Thursday, I get this invite. Congratulations, Kevin Smith Clubber. You've been invited to the Lionsgate premiere of Clerks 3. And I was like, how am I going to do this? I know I shouldn't, right? On the one hand, because I was like still recovering, and I was over the contagious part of my cold. And as you can tell now, I'm not suffering from the cold. But emotionally, I was just drained. And I was like, I asked everybody, and nobody wanted to come. And I really did need someone to kind of come and hold my hand through this. And I looked, and I didn't think I found anyone. And then Haven said, hey, you got to go. I really want to go. I'll be your +1, because you got a +1 with this. You had to sign an NDA, but you got a +1 with this. And it's a for real legit Hollywood premiere at the Chinese Man Theater. So what am I going to do? So he says, I'll go. He goes, I'll pay this, I'll pay that. And my parents said, I'll pay for the room. And I was like, oh, so against my better judgment, I bought the plane ticket on a loan, and I accepted the help. And then when I got here Monday, it was just, I was so drained from the travel and from before. And it's like my body and my mind picks the worst time to be bipolar symptomatic. And it was also coming up on the anniversary of Dell's passing. Literally, the premiere happens on the date of his passing, like tomorrow.
Oh
So,
wow.
and so yesterday, I should have been here, and the weather was beautiful. I should have been happy, right? Like every logical thing dictates dreams coming true, once in a lifetime happenings. You're supposed to be happy. Well, bipolar doesn't give a fuck about any of that. I was stressed,
Yep.
and so I was just completely like white. And I spent all day yesterday. I ate. I made sure I ate and didn't go without eating, but I spent the day either crying, talking to friends and alleviating that for a few minutes, or just basically sleeping the whole day and night away. And fortunately, when I woke up today, the cloud had lifted, but the emotions are still pretty close to the surface. And even though all these great things are happening for me, bipolar, it just, the inside doesn't always match the outside.
And is that typical? Like, do you typically have that sometimes, where moments where you should be happy, or it's good around you, and you still feel like that? Is that a typical happening?
Yeah, it can happen at any time. And but today again, and at the same time, you never know what your day as a bipolar person is going to be like.
Hmm.
Because now it's like I was writing in the book that I signed a publication contract for. It's like having a full-time job where you're working overtime every single day to manage your illness.
Gotcha.
And and at some point, something's got to give. Like, I see the way Kevin travels like 3, 4, 5 days out of the week to promote his stuff,
Yeah.
and I'm, how the hell does he do it? And
Hmm.
then my friend Anna said, Amy, he doesn't have bipolar disorder. And I said, that doesn't, I forget sometimes that as much as I accomplish, as hard as I work, as much as I dream, I do have limitations. And when I don't take care of myself as fully as I can or know I can, it catches up to me. And then days like yesterday happen.
Hmm.
It used to be every day was like that. Now it's just like moments. It can typically happen when I overdo. And this month I have traveled constantly. I went to 3 different places this month within 2 to 4 weeks of each other. Like, I was out in Burbank here uh, a couple of weeks ago for the Golden Calves dinner,
Hmm.
and and then I was in Indie Gathering
Hmm.
for
On the other side of the continent,
on in
in
Cleveland.
Cleveland, Ohio. Woo woo.
Woo woo with a shitty Greyhound station. Woo woo. And then today I'm back in Burbank. Monday I'm
And
back
you're
in
going to
Burbank.
see Clerks 3 tomorrow.
Yes, but I can't
And
say
you can tell
anything
us all
else.
you can tell us all about it on Wednesday.
Um, no,
So
it's like,
so you mentioned something in telling me the description of what we wanted to talk about tonight. You mentioned the downs, but you also mentioned the brilliant ups.
well, what the lows. I try to tell people, when you're depressed, it's not simple sadness. Simple sadness is a normal, healthy, happening human emotion. Depression is like feeling numb and not being able to have a catharsis, or crying and not being able to stop. I mean, just things that aren't running the usual.
Yep. It's a
But
low, and it's hard to drag yourself out of it.
right, you
And you
can't
can't
talk.
just turn it off.
Right, you can't turn it off. You can't talk yourself out of it. And the brilliant ups, what I really mean by that is not by the manias. That's probably not, but when you wake up and the cloud of the depression has lifted,
Hmm.
it's so much sweeter, and it's just as intense like you feel that just as intensely. You're like, oh, I survived it again. Oh, I survived it. I lived to see another day. And today I woke up and I talked to some friends, and then I started writing and listening to music, and I wrote 10 pages. I got to see a friend for coffee. I mean, it was like the complete opposite of what yesterday was.
Right.
And it makes you that much more grateful when you have those good days, when the bad days lift, and you put more good days together than bad. And I still put more good days together than bad, but it's like a full-time job that you never get a break from.
Don't you feel me crying? I'm washed away by the fall. Every day it feels like I'm dying. The waves crash my back to the wall. The current's so black as it takes me. Feel the sun or its warmth. No one around that can save me. The tide pulls me further from home. Don't you feel me crying? I'm washed away by the fall. Every day it feels like I'm dying. The waves crash my back to the wall. 8 hours since the first drop fell, and 8 hours sinking alone.